Welcome to season 2 of Alternative Living Chats. This podcast is where I speak to like-minded people who have decided to give up on living in the standard house and found an alternative lifestyle. If you would like to be a guest, please drop me a message. All my contact details are in the podcast information. Also, please remember to leave a review as this helps other people find us. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation. And today I'm lucky enough to talk to Tamara, and she's going to introduce herself now. So if you'd like to tell everybody about you.
Yes, thank you so much, Maxine. I'm happy. I hope I said your name right.
Yes.
I'm happy to be there. Thank you so much for this amazing opportunity. So as you can probably hear, English isn't my first language. I'm Tamara, and I'm from Geneva, Switzerland. And I actually moved to Israel already, I would say, 7-8 years ago. And while living there with my boyfriend, love brought me there. And we started actually selling on Amazon. We had an online business back there in Israel. And we're talking with the suppliers, and they were in China. So we said to ourselves, like, maybe we should just go to China and meet them. And this is the moment when I said, why go in 2 weeks? Let's go for 2 months. And this is actually how we all started working online and traveling at the same time. So yeah, this is me. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And so just tell us about your life and what you do then. That would be really interesting.
Yes. So we had this business. So we started we started traveling while working with this China experience, the first one. And we really liked it. We just started we had our apartment in Israel. So we sublet this apartment and we went to China to travel, to also do half work, half traveling, which is the moment you don't really know what day it is. You don't know what Sunday looks like. Like every day is like working and not working. Sometimes it's hard to find the right balance. So this is how we started. And then lucky enough, right before Corona, we were still traveling 3 months, like moving to places every 3 months, which I think people like to call it slow travel, when you really live in a city for a month. And we absolutely love eating outside. So every day, almost, we eat only at lunch. So it would be too expensive to eat all the time outside. But we love every day to try new food and to really slow travel, to really visit a city where you have also the time to work and enjoy and relax, kind of a routine abroad, like at home. And then we make ourselves feeling at home everywhere, because we take, this is so funny. We take our pillows. My boyfriend takes his blanket and the cover, the sheets. We are traveling not light. And all I have to say, he takes even his back scratcher. But it's just because we decided that it's so much fun to travel, be able to meet many people, which is also a very anthropological experience, but also to see different culture, to eat different things. And at the same time, we come back often to Switzerland, also to Israel. The food is amazing in Israel. And also he has friends there. I have friends and families in Switzerland. So we like to move like this a bit everywhere and all the time. And it's just been very, very fun. And I don't even see a different way to live, even if I have nobody around me that is doing this. And I totally understand and respect people. Most of the time tell me, I don't know how you don't have a home or you don't have a proper house, like your home. But I really discovered how I can feel at home no matter where I am. That's even if it has ups and downs. Sometimes we still have an apartment in Israel that we sublet every 3 months. It's very easy to find people, and we also have funny experiences with people staying in our apartment. And you come back, you don't really know what's in your bed, on your couch, but it has everything, every situation I think in life has positive and negative consequences, of living there or not living there. So but this is for the lifestyle that we chose. And we sold this business right before Corona, and I learned life coaching. And now I was a general life coaching, and now I listen to my intuition, and I was guided by the people that I started coaching, and I became a fun and confidence coach. So I'm helping people having much more fun, because we think that fun is only for weekends and, watching comedies and everything. And I think that we can find true enjoyment and fun in everything we do, and confidence, because think that no matter what, we all want to be seen, heard, and understood, and we can give it to ourselves in the first place. So this is how I came up also with the confidence niche. So this is me in a nutshell.
That's good. And so do you do your life coaching via Zoom or phone or?
Yes, exactly. And it's so funny because I started already right before Corona. So it was more, at the start, people were kind of skeptical, like, it's going to be through Zoom. I like to feel the energy. And now it's so funny. We don't even have this conversation thanks to Corona, kind of. But I also found out, back then also that I did a bit of therapy. When I arrived in Israel, I think the culture shock was really strong. And I did not feel also too good, which was nothing to do with necessarily the therapist. I think it was more like the connection. So this was physical, like we met physically, and I realized that you can meet through like Zoom and feel very connected to somebody, and you can meet physically and less feel connected. So I think this is, not a problem at all. The internet could be something that when you travel now, we did a road trip. It was amazing, and it's true. I have to say that to find really quality internet, I have to ask each time what's the speed and making sure, because I like to be very professional, like to make sure my internet is perfect. Needs to be the least of my worries in the moment. And this is something that I still think and hope it will get better and better in the future in all the places, like all over the world. I think it got better with Corona, like people realize that internet is so important. But I have to say, this is something that I hope will be like 500 megabytes, like amazing speed internet. And I don't know about you, if you found yourself with good internet all the time or.
No, I'm the same because I'm also a life coach and I do all my and I do everything through Zoom, and I have been doing for the last few years. And and especially since we've moved onto the boat, I have to check that we've got really good signal, because it's nothing worse when you're talking to a client and it's very hit and miss. But I've had the odd little blip, but I have a check and we have very good internet most of the places, so it's not too bad. So
When did you start the life coaching?
About 4 or 5 years ago, and then permanently it was when we moved onto the boat, really, that it really I don't work full time. I just do like part time with it now, because I write as well. But that's it's wonderful.
Amazing. Yeah, it's both of like life coaching and writing. Looks like you can really do that from everywhere also. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, so you can go. So when you're traveling around, how do you travel? Are you walking? Are you using public transport? What do you do?
Yes, actually, so we lived a bit in Mexico, we lived a bit in South Africa, we lived in Vietnam also, and all of these places we usually take public transport, like trains and sometimes flights when it's really like far away from each other. Since we travel only 3 months sometimes, and we stay 1 month in the city, it seems, we are just like taking kind of like not spending so much time in transport, because we like to really live in the city, to know at some point the city like on pocket, like something that we've been living, like a place we've been living forever. Mm-hmm. And so more public transport. And now what we did, it's actually new. So it's funny that we're talking about this now. We bought a second-hand car in Switzerland. Was in October. Yeah, September, October. We went back to Israel a bit. We came back now, and now we're traveling with the car around Europe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's super, super fun. And the funny thing is that we both don't like too much to drive, but we just like the flexibility it offers us. And we can put, this you will not believe also, this is the funny one. We can put all of our pillows and blankets, and it's a secret, but we're taking a mattress, because in Spain and all of these places, they are so short and tiny people, I think. So my feet are coming out. We are two big people, I think. I'm 174, he's 185. And beds are small, 140. And it was a mistake when I moved to Israel. We bought a big mattress, like 180. So now we cannot sleep in 140. Our sleep is so important. We are 10 years together. You get to make some choice and to live your truth. So we brought a mattress that is not too fancy at all, but it just makes us be able to sleep very comfortably. People are laughing about those little details, but we basically live at least, I would say, 6-8 months, not in our beds.
Yeah.
And on Israeli, talking to see families and friends. So we have sleep is so important. I don't know. No, I'm 33. It became more important than ever. So we have everything in the car. And also my boyfriend just started skiing. I'm from Switzerland, so I ski since I'm like that small. But he just started. He loves it, and now he wants to take the ski with us. So we took the ski, the mattress, the pillows. I respect so much minimalism, but I don't think I can consider myself really. Do you think that it goes together? Like people that travel all the time, they become a bit minimalist, but are you sort of, yeah?
You're still getting there.
We are the exception that confirms the rule. You travel with not too many things. Like you have
we haven't. We had to really, I mean, we left a 2-bedroom house to like a 59-foot space. So we've had to really, really cut down on what we have. And it is difficult, but it's amazing how little you actually do need.
It's true. And I will say the truth, like, I always wear, I don't have so many clothes, when you can just clean them, you just use the same. And it's almost become uniforms, which makes less decision. You don't have to think too much what you're wearing. I find it very practical because when we're in Mexico, we gave our clothes to wash and dry, and they came back, like sad all over the place. So I've decided from this point that I'm not buying things that are, fancy or beautiful, unfortunately, because I make choices. Then when I travel, I don't want to be careful of colors, and I put everything together, which makes really less decision. I think I feel less the decision fatigue. But it's funny because as much as we travel with many things, I still don't like to keep stuff, like if it's not useful, if I don't still use it, I'm not keeping. Exactly what you said. You realize how much you don't need too much, So everything we take, the pillows, we do use them. If not, we're never taking it back. But it's true. We have also a coffee machine, an espresso one.
You've got to have some comforts.
Exactly. But I think we choose the battle, but I always want to be that minimalist that have just a backpack,
Yeah.
2 pence, but at the same time, I like my comfort. But it's not black and white. I'm sure we can find a middle. But it's true that people like to say they are traveling so lightly. And I have to say, I don't relate too much, but I think I really understand.
Yeah. And so where do you stay? What kind of places do you stay in?
Yeah. So, we usually like to find the apartment in the center because we love after lunch coming back home and relaxing before continuing a bit with work. So most of the time we like to be in the center, but we don't mind walking a lot. We like walking, so much now. We are in Barcelona and we are walking so much every day without like making it like we just walk without even you go just to a restaurant, it's like half an hour, 45 minutes walk, and we love it, with the direction. So what I mean, like with an end goal, and just without paying attention, and then you see everything around. But we take also a lot of public transport here about it. Yeah. Also, but this is what we stayed most of the time is Airbnb, and here actually in Barcelona we look online websites. Websites are always online, but I mean on a website that are for people that want to stay for a few months, and we make a few phone calls and we tell people, I know you're looking for a few months, but here we are. We can, you can get money for the next month, so you don't have to wait more, and people can come and visit if you want to rent it after when we leave. And this is how we usually find apartment when we stay for a bit more time than just a few days. But I think for a few days, we usually use Booking.com, Airbnb, all of them. But after, if we know we're going to stay like Barcelona, we knew we wanted to stay more, we used a kind of a national website, like looking how people would look for an apartment for the long run. And we write in Spanish. We're also learning Spanish, so it helps.
Yes, definitely.
But it's true that in Vietnam, we did not, for example, speak Vietnamese, but it's, this is the way we really like to stay in a place and make it our own, to unpack everything. And then, but when we do road trip, we're kind of flexible because when we road trip, we also just unpack for a few nights, which we still take our pillows out and our coffee machine. But slowly, we get used to pack everything fast and not to unpack. So,
That's good. And I suppose if you're staying somewhere in an apartment or something like that, you can embrace the community around you as well easier, can't you?
Exactly. I think that this is also, we made one very, very good friend, for example, in Mexico City, that we saw many times, after, and we met there. And in Vietnam, we also met one Vietnamese girl that was really, really cute. And it's each time meetings such as, workshops or digital nomad groups, seems that people are meeting from all over the world. And then it's true that you find yourself more with people that have stories of, I left home, now I'm traveling, I love it so much. So, and it's so interesting that it's really like completely different from the people we see at home, our friends and family that are having kids, that are going on vacation for 3 days, and we're like, oh, you're taking a plane? 3 days. But I don't think we're judging, but it's so different. The people you're talking to. Last year we were in Malaga and we went to a meeting like this with many digital nomads also. They like to call themselves like this. I'm not sure if we are like this, people like to to be understood, but we still like to meet many kinds of people, and people really, all of them have stories. They left home, they left traveling so much. So it's very, very enriching seeing all of this, meeting so many people, and people do so many things. And I think every job today, you can almost make it, I'm not sure everything, my friend in Geneva would say I'm exaggerating, but you can almost work from everywhere with like, many companies. I know that Twitter, for example, well, I'm not sure it's a good example recently, but it's really, I heard that they don't ask their people, like the employees, to come back to work physically. So I think today it's really something that it's a lifestyle that people can choose kind of no matter what they're doing. You know,
Yeah.
I think with Corona and everything.
It's helped in some ways, isn't it? That's it, because everybody can work differently now, and that's a bonus. Yeah,
and I think people also will realize that you can be very productive by working from home because you just work less hours, but you have then much more time, and people are much more productive because they see that, okay, this is still supposed to be 8 hours, but I can produce the same results in 3 hours. So I'm going to do this, and they work they work good, and it's still a 100% lifetime salary. So I think that it's also something that maybe employers will not like what I said, but it's true that deep down we pay for results and not from like back then per hour. You know, it's
no, I totally agree. Yeah. So, what have you got planned for this year? Have you got any?
Yes, so we're driving back now. We're like taking the car a bit more to like around Barcelona now. We're living actually in 2 days, visiting some places, trying new food. But this is actually not exactly like how we do it, slow travel. This is more to visit around. I think it's important for anybody, you know, that's thinking about doing this, or that just like the idea is to know that it doesn't have to be black and white. You can also do exactly what you feel like doing. Like you said, you're going on a cruise. Yeah. I think that's what we want now. We don't necessarily like we want this in 6 months. I think it's totally fine to do whatever we want, because it's true people say, I'm leaving everything and going to Japan for 6 months. But I think it's important that everybody will do what they truly feel like doing. So now we are being called to travel to a road trip a bit around. And then we will drive back to Switzerland, Geneva. My dad lives there. Mm-hmm. And seeing France. We'll go back a bit to Israel. And then in the summer, we're thinking about more Europe, with the Netherlands and places like this, because just love also not having planned. The whole point of the car is really to think like, okay, what do we want to do now? Where do we want to go? And to just go with the flow. I think our brain really wants certainty. You know, we want to know where we're going. We like to book flight tickets, but I think, there are some upsides also of not knowing and just the vibe. So this is the plan a bit. So to tell you the truth, as you can see, there's no real plans.
No plans are best, I think, because at least you can just wake up, and if you decide you want to do something, then you can go and do it, can't you?
Exactly. And I have to say that we used to to rent a car often in South Africa in last year. Like we did it also in Mexico, and I think now to have the car, it lets us also be able to travel on weekends, you know, or during the week. I feel like to take the car some places, and it's we love it. So it's been amazing this way. But who knows in a few years what we will be doing, where we'll be living. But it's like today, it's so many people are doing it. It all depends, you know, what you put your attention on. Like, I mean, you're also a life coach, so we know that our brain will find truth. So that's what we're thinking. So if we see many people doing this, we will see so many more people doing it. And
yes,
I think it's just amazing to see that we can do it. People can do it if they want to. Who knows? Maybe at some point we will all stay in one place. You know,
you never know. So, what would you say has been the best thing that's happened? You know, since you've been doing, what's your best memories?
It's such a good question. I think that my best memories are really the one when. Should I get ready for this? For me, it's really the meeting of the people, like meeting people that, I have to say that sometimes you are a bit, when you do it a lot, you can be a bit tired or exhausted of the small talk. You know, like, what are you doing? Where are you from? And sometimes after a few weeks, you want to have a conversation, just something deep, you know, you can have with your husband, like with people that are close to us. So sometimes this can be hard, but at the same time, to meet these people with all these stories, and I love also meeting people. There was one friend, the girl I talked about before in Mexico City, she told us stories and anecdotes about the country that I'm not sure you would necessarily get from another place. And, you know, when somebody is telling you a story, like the storytelling practice, so much more. We remember the stories, it makes sense. It's like talking to you, you can relate. So I think this is for me the favorite thing, which at the same time is interesting because it's also the thing that I like the less when you do the small talk.
Yeah.
And the life coaching, I have to also share that because you are also a life coach. Sometimes I'm saying, I'm a life coach. And people are saying, oh, me too. Because, you know, people say sometimes that everybody can be a life coach, which if you think you can help people, I said, oh, it's fun. But at the start, I was a bit on the weekend, like, no, I learned it and I have clients, you know what I mean? So I think there is a part the small talk that I like less, but I think that the part when you meet people, it's anthropologically very interesting. Sometimes you meet very interesting people, if you know what I mean. And at the same time, it's so enriching. It's like nothing. It's not like following an account on Instagram, somebody traveling. It's nice. But when you get to talk to somebody and see what they believe, what they are thinking, and it's sometimes so different from you, it's very enriching. And it made me, I think, more like open-minded, like never.
Yeah,
that's my favorite part.
And what's been the worst experience since you've been traveling around like this?
It's funny because I think people will say, when I talk now with people, they say, yeah, Corona was so hard for me. I was in lockdown. I could not go. And we just flew back from Mexico right before Corona started. And we saw people with masks on the plane and we were like, what are you wearing masks? You're exaggerating. And now then we were unusual like this because the weather was really extreme at this point. Now I would say, yeah, it's so interesting now to think right away the worst. You said the experience like something that I like the
least. Yeah, has anything happened that you're not happy about, or that's been traumatizing or anything like that while you've been traveling around like this?
No, it's interesting. I think that I did not focus too much. I'm trying not to focus too much on the negative and all this.
Yeah, it's a good thing, but it's just usually there's something that you think, oh, no, that's put me off certain place or something.
Yeah, it's true. Maybe I would have said first security, like maybe something, yeah, exactly. Yeah. A bit in Mexico and South Africa, which I think, I have to say the truth, I think it started a bit from what we hear and what we are, the stories we hear and what we are reading online. People say, be careful, be careful. And I think that we were extremely careful and a bit afraid, but more because of what we've been hearing than what really happened to us. So nothing happened. But it's true that I would say it's more the stories of people saying, the story, their phone, their passport and all of this, and we don't really know what to do or how you're going to react until it's really happening. So I think this is more, and actually it's funny, since it did not happen to us, it was more the fear that it brought sometimes when we were walking down the street, being afraid when actually nothing was happening. Yeah. So this, I think, actually, even to say that we always have to be careful, not to be the low hanging fruit, to be careful. But I think at some point we also were really afraid, and we sometimes did not even do something or went out because we were afraid that something might happen. So I think this would be the thing that not even what happened, but our fear of. I think just exactly. And we really stopped ourselves sometimes, and we were really afraid for no reason. So I think this is. It's not like a funny answer to this.
No, I can see, because you put that in your head already, and you're expecting the worst when it wasn't, and you could, if you hadn't thought that way, you could have had a better day, really, couldn't you?
Yes, exactly. And I think also then it was a bit being harsh, to this place that have reputation, and I truly believe, sometimes things are happening in some countries that are not in others, but I also believe that it's perpetuating the idea that this place is dangerous when we believe it's dangerous. So people are doing things that anyway it's expected of them. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that if it's to tell people, it's just to be careful, but not to make it such a big deal as we did in Mexico and South Africa. It really stopped us, and we're really stressed, how you said it. Exactly. Yeah. It stopped us from enjoying in the moment, which it's all relevant, to purpose. Yeah.
So what tips have you got if anybody else wants to live this way, or take it on for a year or something? Just how, what's the main tips you would give them?
Yes, so it's funny because since with our conversation and amazing questions to cover the discussion we're having here, I can say that my biggest tip here is in many things in our life we see ourselves being black or white, I'm doing it or I'm not doing it. And I see it because some people are asking me, tell me how I can leave my job and travel like you. And then I see that nothing is moving because for them, because they see it really as black and white. They have to leave everything, sell everything they own so they can travel. And I think for everybody listening and everybody, that actually also you can take this for every areas of our life, to not make it black and white. You don't have to leave everything, sending letters to the people you love and making it so dramatic, Also for people are telling their parents, I'm going. It doesn't have to be handled like this. I think exactly just listen to your intuition, what is really what you are being called to do, what sounds fun. Also, it's not that serious. You can always try something. And I like also to tell people that ask me, I say, you can always come back. The worst case scenario is most of the time, not that it's a bad situation where we are now, but the worst case scenario is where we are now. We can always come back to what we're doing now. There are many jobs. There are many more. I'm more into abundance, thinking. So there's always gonna be job. There's always gonna be like you can find another apartment, you can buy more stuff. So it doesn't have to be black and white. I think that everybody should just listen. Not should, but are invited to do exactly what they feel like doing, even if it's just actually living in a 3 hours city from here, even if it's taking a backpack, taking their pillows. Just listen to what you really feel like, and people are doing their thing. It doesn't have to look like anybody else's lifestyle. I think today everything is possible. We see, look, we are 2023. I get to call myself a fun and confidence coach. People are asking me, how do you call yourself like this? And I'm turning it around, and I'm like, yeah, we're living the best time ever. We can do all of this,
That's it. You can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
and it's just taking the step, isn't it? And as you say, if it doesn't work, you start again. It's not the end of the world.
No, and it's the idea really of it's not that serious. Just do what you think, and exactly you can always come back. I really believe, and sometimes there is a middle, like things are happening in a certain way. I believe a bit, in the universe, but I believe things happening in a certain way. If now people feel like maybe in a few years that we want to do it, there is a reason why they don't do it now. I don't think it's a problem. Just feel like comfortable with what you're doing, and but you can also be uncomfortable, and you will love it. But I mean, like it's okay just to do the way you want to do it. Because sometimes we really read it and people are proud of showing how much they changed their life, and I think that it just has to fit what we really want to. If that makes sense. With also your story, I think.
Yeah, that's interesting. And you were saying earlier that you loved eating out and everything. So which country would you say has had the best food? Because I'm a real foodie. I love nice food.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're not comparing to us. We have a list of restaurants. We are grading them from 0 to 10. Value for money was like we have. If you go, for example, to South Africa, to Mexico, to Spain, like some cities, I have a list of restaurants. We tried so many places. A few of them are 10 out of 10, which is very rare because we are very exigent. We are really, but so yeah, I would say maybe I'm a bit based, but no, I don't think I grew up in Switzerland, which is amazing, like cheese and chocolate considering. To me, you have to go to Israel. The food, all of the Middle East, for sure, they have all of the Canadian food. Amazing food, and lots of vegetables. The taste is really good. All of this, of course, are my opinions, like the security, all of it. I don't want to put that on tree and saying something, but I think I find in Israel the food kind of healthy and very, very tasty, but then very, very close we have like Mexico with amazing food also, and also value for money, I think amazing. And South Africa was very cheap also, with also many kinds of food. But it's true that we eat a lot outside, I have to say. So it's a budget for sure. It's part of our budget, like 30% of our budget. I have to say, but I would say Israel for me is all of these countries for sure.
Yeah, that's good.
I think they are really.
That's good.
But everywhere you have good food. In Barcelona, here we have paellas. They get crazy, and we like to eat from different kind of food, like Mexican food, Italian food, French food. But we like to try everywhere. Ethiopian looks also very interesting. We ate it. That's just sort of this.
That's good. And so, if anybody wants to, do you have a social media following, or do you have any platforms that people can contact? Yep.
Yes, so we can find me. I have an Instagram that I started a few months ago. So it's also a Tamara Fun and Confidence Coach.
Yeah.
And I have a podcast also that is the Get Confident, Get Happy podcast. And it's true. It's interesting that we've been talking because I did not share too much about my lifestyle with my audience. So it's interesting that now we talked about it. It made me want to really share a bit more for people.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the best way. But I always like people that I meet, on random also networking events and also digital like nomad groups that I said, just look for me on Google. We put Tamara Fun and Confidence Coach and you find many things about me.
What I'll do is because you're going to send me the links and everything, so I'll put these into the information for the podcast so people can contact you and find out more information if they need to, and because it'll be interesting following you how you travel around and everything, because I certainly will be joining you on Instagram and have a watch. So
thank you so much. No, it's a really good it's amazing. Like I've been more sharing tips on how to feel more confident, but I think that the traveling can be also very fun. I think people like to see a few pictures and feel like they're traveling also from the comfort of their own home.
Yes,
it's true. I like it. I can wait to
I definitely do. It's been lovely having a chat, and I've thoroughly enjoyed listening to how you live. It's, as you say, it's amazing, and finding the different cultures in the different places you go to must be a really good experience.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. And I really think, like fact that we do this slow travel, I don't know, we really feel like at home everywhere we go. I mean, if you can feel like this when you move from cities to cities, but it's true, this way of living is, you feel really at home. You really settle yourself, the back scratcher and everything. So yeah.
That's brilliant.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I hope you've enjoyed today's podcast and thank you very much for listening. Please let everybody know about the podcast so we can grow the Alternative Living Chats community. And if you would like to join me, drop me a message. And also all the details of today's guests will be in the information of this podcast. Thank you.